south end, but they are ruthless, hungry and in power again.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Henry Kissinger Is Pokemon Going to Die? Not a threat.
Just a fact.
On the show this week, we got me, DJ Hemp Nation.
Oh, are we doing it in order?
Yeah.
Okay, hey, I'm Brooks. I'm more like the Petrograd student.
Hi, I'm Hata Trotsky. It's me, Patrick.
Hi, I'm Zach, aka Cuck Schumer.
Good. Terrific.
Very topical. You want to just start off with that one? Should we just start off with that one?
Just being mad at Chuck Schumer? Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cracking my fucking knuckles.
Okay, so you guys are the Americans here. Take the lead on this one because I am but a humble Canadian and do not fully understand your American electoral politics. So how'd Chuck Schumer fuck up this week?
So the government shut down last weekend because we have a broken government and economic system and political economy that if the two parties don't agree on a thing, then sometimes the government just shuts down, and it's normal and regular. And so at first Democrats were like, hey, we're not going to pass this budget in time, and we're going to shut down the government if you don't pass DACA, or if you don't have protections for dreamers in...
It's like a renewal of it?
Yeah.
Essentially?
Which, again, it's a program to protect undocumented children of a certain, time period, which, isn't even all that sort of far left. But
no, that's it's very reasonable. If you're going real far left, that's fuck a border. Borders don't exist. Let everyone in. Let's do this shit.
Right.
Because that's normal. That's the compassionate thing to do. But governments don't work that way, especially not the Democrats.
Right. So so the government shut down for a couple days, and Chuck Schumer, then he rolled over on his belly and he started cooing, and he says, "Oh no, people are getting mad at me. Oh, beans." And then he put on his work boots and he said, "Okay, Mr. Don, Dangerous Don, I'm going to go build the wall for you. We don't need to do DACA anymore. I'm going to help you, and this is how we're going to win in 2020." And it's bad.
And it was unilaterally terrible, but a bunch of Democrats are still pretending that this is brain genius level strategizing and that it's actually good.
Yeah.
And I hate it.
To be clear, all of it now he has in return is a promise from Mitch McConnell that they're going to deal with immigration before the next budget deadline in February.
Famous promise upholder, Mitch McConnell.
He loves to keep promises, is the thing about him.
Yeah, and the other thing that was Chuck Schumer was saying, we'll work on the protections for the Dreamers later. Once the nation sees all the photos of people being deported, then they will, call to action. That's, such a fucking ghoulish thing to do.
Yeah, he was like,
yeah.
if we don't, get a vote on it by, March or something, he said, God forbid, hopefully all those photos will call people to action. Who cares about the people getting deported as long as they inspire people to do the right
thing? Famous accelerationist Chuck Schumer.
Yeah, maybe that's what the Democrats are really hoping for. That's why, they haven't offered any, substantive resistance to anything that Trump's done.
Yeah, maybe that's why Democrats have, no positive vision of the future and offer nothing to vote for the working class. Maybe that's
exactly.
why.
That's, why everyone's third favorite Doug Jones keeps voting for the Republicans.
What? The Democrats read, the Nega Universe version of, The Art of the Deal, and now they just roll over on everything instantly.
Yeah, because they're all accelerationists. They want it to get so bad because it was the same strategy that Hillary literally ran her entire campaign on. There's no way they'll vote for this one. The only problem is that everyone's stupid and people are ghoulish and evil and will continually vote for things that make poor people suffer.
It's the only fucking thing that Democrats understand is shame. That is their only tactic. And it's the only thing that they fucking offer. It's the only reason that they don't like Donald Trump, but they love George Bush and by extension, Mike Pence.
God, that was a micro topic we had this week is George Bush now has a higher than 50% favorability rating among Democrats.
Yeah, which is
love being in the resistance.
Insane.
Because they have a memory of about 10 minutes. Like anything before that, like they don't remember
Like
anything about how terrible
funny
his
Bush
presidency
make a
was.
dog painting.
You're like, oh,
Yeah, I think
he
this is
painted
kind
a
of
dog.
the-
Isn't that sad? I wish he was president again.
I think it's sort of the flip side of the coin of how Democrats are always constantly complaining that like actual leftists are too into purity politics. But
the
by the same
opposite.
token, yeah, exactly. They entirely forget whenever someone isn't literally the devil. They just think that that person has done no wrong. And so they refuse to learn from their mistakes.
Like Hillary Clinton famously loves Henry Kissinger.
And
yeah,
so do
they're
we.
really good friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we absolutely love him. It's our podcast is not a threat. It's just a fact.
It's
Yeah,
sad
it's
to me.
it's amazing to me that if you ask any given Democrat what their opinion is of a real, actual war criminal, they love him.
Yeah.
They think he's a
Because
great guy.
Democrats love war crimes as long as they're like foreign war crimes.
I mean, they actually
They do love war
straight up
crimes.
actually do. Like Obama loved to do them.
They just don't call them that. They call them like conflict oopsies.
Yeah.
The fucking and let us be clear. This will happen again in 4 to 8 years with Donald Trump.
Oh, absolutely.
There's going to be somebody who is even somehow even worse, and then it's going to be, oh well, Donald Trump didn't know what he was doing. He was just a stupid baby. This guy's even worse because he knows how evil he is, and it's always going to.
It's
and
going to
that's
be
why,
literally Mike Pence.
That's why you can't organize outside of the Democratic Party.
No. It's gonna be. Who's an even worse game show host?
Pat Sajak.
Pat Sajak.
Okay, well, there we go. I just want to say I logged onto Facebook today, mistake number 1, and then I looked at my like on this day such and such years ago thing, mistake number 2, and my status from
I saw
exactly a year ago today was about how the Democrats keep trying to negotiate with people who only argue in bad faith, and how things are just going to get worse and worse. And guess what?
It did.
Yep.
Yeah.
I saw someone's. I don't remember whose status it was. I think it was. It might have been Sam's, and it was like an on this day from like 6 years ago, and it was like, watch someone just nominate a game show host for president. And it's like,
Did he fucking really?
I don't know if it was Sam. It was someone on my friend's feed, but like,
Sounds like
damn,
Sam.
that's-
If it's like smart and like it's well thought out, then it's probably Sam.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's smart and it's well thought
Checks
out,
out.
doesn't that mean it's definitely not Sam? Like, let's all hash out our Sam opinions here.
I'm for it.
He did get his Tumblr suspended by the Secret Service. This was a real thing
Yeah,
that
he
happened
did
to
do
our friend
that.
Sam.
Right, so he's a war hero.
That's true. I think that actually gives Sam the strongest stripes of anyone here.
Right, he's the only one who's taken a meaningful stand against the United States government.
Yeah. Traitor to
By
Empire.
making a funny meme
Sam.
post about killing the president.
Yeah.
Which
Not-
was
not a
also
threat,
which
just
is
a post.
extremely
Not
not a threat. Like a lot, very much not.
It's not. Don't worry. It's not.
It was the
He
problem.
did his
The
time.
problem with the FBI is that they don't understand tumblarity.
No. It was the Secret Service, which is even better.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's much better because like these are the people who are looking against active threats specifically against the president.
And they follow
they're
Sam
like-
on Tumblr.
Yeah, exactly. This random blogger from Arizona. He's definitely got something planned with his petition to kill the president. Not a threat, just a fact.
The thing is, yeah.
It wasn't a fact. What the fuck?
Damn,
If they
I
had
shouldn't have
taken
finished
the
that
time
sentence.
to look at his blog, like if they had taken the time to look at like 2 of his posts, they would have been like, "Oh, this kid doesn't have what it takes."
No, they would have fucking played a snowing song that was on his dash and would have been like, "This fucking sucks. I'm out of here."
Let's just take down his blog because snowing sucks.
Snowing sucks, but also I love snowing.
No, same. It's the mood.
I have Red Hot Chili Pepper syndrome where I love bad bands.
That's fair. That's also a really, really good name for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's y'all's favorite Red Hot Chili Peppers album?
What's
I like
that
the
fake
where
one
they
that
sing about
fooled you?
California.
It was okay, listen.
Abracadabra.
It was
California.
Abracadabra, California. And it sounded really good. I thought it was like a return to form for Anthony Kiedis.
Please look up Abracadabra, California.
The thing about The thing about Anthony Kiedis is he is consistently the worst member of Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
Honestly, no idea which one he is. Which one is he?
He's the singer.
Oh, I hate him.
He's bad.
He's the only good rapper.
Oh, God. Brooks, you can't start bringing galaxy brain opinions like that into this podcast. You just can't do it. No, the only good rapper is Mr. B, the gentleman rhymer.
I don't want to talk about him.
No, sorry, Professor Elemental, the two mavens of chap hop.
Who's that? Matt, who's that one that you're always posting? And it's that dude. It's like a picture of like a guy on like this really plain black background, and he's wearing kind of like a goofy outfit, and the song is terrible.
Killa Sal?
Yeah, Killa Sal.
Okay, Killa Sal's Crazy Money is actually the greatest rap track of all time.
Okay, I'm sorry. Please don't beat me up. I do want to say, while we're talking about Red Hot Chili Peppers, my senior year of high school, they did a all-male like beauty pageant competition, and this one kid, his talent portion was to do a very bad, I don't want to call it a sing-along, but he did the Give It Away, Give It Away, Give It Away Now song, and like was walking down the aisles like strolling around like a king, and I was astral projecting out of the auditorium. It was so bad.
That rules. And I actually astral projected into that auditorium to watch it just now.
He astral projected into the body of the guy doing it. That was Brooks.
Yeah,
he
that
was there.
I'm the three-eyed raven now.
Yeah.
No, Patrick, you want to take the lead on the next one? What's the crazy thing that Trump did this week?
Okay, all right. So I spent all today researching this. So this is the story that Trump has recently placed a really big import tariff on foreign manufactured solar panels. And if that's all you hear about this story, it sounds, obviously like a batshit crazy thing to do. But I did digging, and that's not really the long and short of it. Obviously, that is what's happening, but I feel like it's kind of an oversimplification. What he's doing is putting a tariff of 30% on solar panels, which is not the maximum, and it's actually lower than what the International Trade Commission has recommended. And it's not to stifle the growth of solar energy in the country necessarily. I'm sure that's part of it. But it's also because that domestic manufacturers of solar panels are getting outcompeted by countries like China and South Korea, who are the biggest exporters of solar technology, because their governments heavily subsidize the production of solar tech, which is really what we should be doing instead of taxing foreign solar tech.
Yeah, that's always the way it goes, because like a similar thing happened with the NAFTA trade dispute with Canada, which naturally I'm looking into because that's like the stuff that affects me. Well, I mean, not directly, because my family does not deal in lumber. I don't know if you guys knew, but
why not?
It's not lumberjacks.
Oh,
you should be.
We really should be, because like there are some subsidies in place that help essentially the export of softwood lumber, and that was one of the big things that Trump was big pissy baby about, was the fact that we subsidize that industry. Same thing with Bombardier, who are they're not technically a subsidized company, but they're a company that constantly needs to be bailed out by our government, so we keep giving them money.
Okay.
Not necessarily agreeing with that. I think we should nationalize them, which obviously is the right solution to do. But there's like a 30% duty placed on all Canadian-made airplanes because of the Bombardier subsidies. So it's essentially like it's, instead of actually just subsidizing these things that we need, airlines, like transportation, more efficient transportation,
quirky feminist socks.
Yeah, and solar panels, instead of doing something that would incentivize the use of these things, instead they make them more expensive for the end user.
Yeah,
because like if they subsidize them on the federal level and then didn't have to tariff the things coming in as a result, then it would just be cheaper in general. Instead, it's just more expensive across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One other thing I do want to mention about this topic is that it's got like a lot of political power behind it, speaking on like an international scale. Like I mentioned, China and South Korea are the ones who are going to be like most heavily affected by these tariffs. And that's probably an act on part of the Trump administration to kind of get them to maybe adopt more of a quote unquote American foreign policy in regards to North Korea. He's also this same tariff applies to washing machines, and the administration's also tossing around putting the same thing on aluminum and steel, which are other big exports from Asian countries.
Yeah, because there's a lot of big aluminum mines there, and of course, the Trump's foreign policy involves keeping the Koreas divided because, like, God forbid there be anything close to reunification talks between them.
Yeah.
And it's such like a nakedly transparent thing too. Like, it's so obvious they're trying to drive a wedge between the countries.
Right, yeah.
To me, it makes perfect sense to me. Imperialism bad.
Yeah, sorry, hang on. What's the highlight? What does the highlighting signify in the document?
Oh, that's me nervously playing with my keyboard. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Good.
Can we talk about that now? Because I don't have a thing to take point on.
Oh,
so this is an easy one.
So what you're asking is, are you ready for some football?
Are you ready for some football? Should we explain...
ready for some football?
I'm football? Should we explain what the XFL is?
It rules.
Okay, so this was in the I want to say like the late 90s.
It was 2001.
2001. Yeah, it's same basic time period.
Time is fake.
Yeah, nothing big happened in
time
2011 that changed anything.
2011.
2001. I can't think of anything big that happened
See,
then.
time is fake. So in 2001, Vince McMahon started a football league called the XFL that was like sort of a blend of traditional NFL football, traditional insofar as that can be traditional, and a mix of that and like the showmanship and kayfabe of professional wrestling. So like all of the players wore mics. It was like notorious for being a lot more like showy and violent. So it's kind of like the most like early 2000s thing that you can think of, and it's coming back, baby.
Yeah, and this time with more jingoism.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because one thing you got to know about Vince McMahon is that one, Martin Luther King is his personal hero, and two, he's super duper racist.
Yeah.
So don't think too hard about it. So this time, they have a policy. They're not going to have cheerleaders. That's just, I guess they don't want the players getting too horny. It's not a big deal. They also have decided that they're not going to hire any players with arrest records. And this is where we get to the heart of what makes Vince McMahon get such a hard-on for his failed football program. All players will be required to stand for the national anthem.
It's really good is the thing. We
It's
gotta
good.
support the troops. If there's one thing you know about gotta know about this podcast is that Empire is good and the military is great.
Yeah.
They've never done anything wrong.
So when you say Empire,
our
are you
troops.
talking about the hit network TV show Empire?
No, because that involves black people.
Oh yeah, he hates them.
The cool thing about like forcing your players to stand for the national anthem on top of everything else is that it's just the latest it's the most Vince McMahon thing you can do. For those of you who aren't on Twitter all day, Vince McMahon is the wrestle man who monopolized the wrestling industry, and did a whole lot of other horrible shit.
And he walk funny.
He also walk funny, and
He also do the funny walk.
When Stone Cold Steve Austin do a funny stunner on him, he sells it very funny. It's very good. But he also, like famously, or perhaps it should be more famously, like doesn't. The wrestlers on screen in WWE are not actually WWE employees, despite not being able to work elsewhere. They're independent contractors, which is a cool legal thing that you can do if you don't want to pay for health insurance for your workers.
Yep.
So this is just another thing where it's under capitalism, it's free enterprise, and you can voluntarily conscript yourself into all of these organizations, except it's extremely not voluntary, and you are required to do all of these things. And
by the way, there's a monopoly. If you want to work in wrestling at all, you have to work for us. Thanks.
Right. Thanks so much.
Or go to Japan.
Also,
where the better wrestling is.
Also, Dangerous Donald Trump is in our Hall of Fame. Thank you for asking.
Yes. And of course, Vince McMahon's wife is the cabinet minister of, or whatever the equivalent is called in this. Is it cabinet minister in the States? I don't actually know how they...
Small Business Administration, which is also fucking hilarious.
That's
It's
so
very
funny.
funny.
See, the thing about it is that like Vince McMahon lost what, like 160 million on this last time?
Yeah, it was like 50 mil a pop
like, if
if you
he
tried
loses
a bunch
that
of
much
times.
if he loses this again, it will literally mean nothing to him.
Can I ask, is this the football league that Donald Trump was involved with that failed, or was that a separate failed football league?
I think it was separate because I haven't heard anything about that, and I'm constantly online in the wrestling world.
Yeah, I knew that he had his own. I think his was the American Football League or something like that.
Because watching the press conference today, like the old XFL, as Vince McMahon wants you to think about it, it was a joint venture, like funded through WWE in part, and like Jim Ross, the famous announcer, was there, and it was very linked. And another thing you got to know about Vince McMahon is that he fucking hates wrestling, and because he has all of these these shitty billionaire friends who've gotten rich through like stealing other forms of labor, but. So he that's why it's sports entertainment now, and it's not wrestling, because he really hates people who live in the South. He hates poor people. He hates low culture, but he peddles it. He peddles the shit. He just it's weird. It's like rich people hating poor people. It's weird.
It's weird
can't
how that
quite
happens.
wrap my head around that.
It's hard to think about. But it's so now this is it's legally a completely distinct thing from that backwoods thing that made me rich. And now it's his own company, Alpha Entertainment, which is cool. It's just a cool name.
I have a question.
Gorilla Mindset Entertainment.
Yeah, Gorilla Monsoon. Thanks.
Who has the worst concussion? Who has the worst concussion policy between the NFL and the WWE?
The thing is,
Like,
I think it's the WWE. I think it's the WWE.
Is theirs worse?
Yeah, I think it is.
Because host of the show Andy was saying earlier on Twitter that I think it was on Twitter, it might have been in Discord, was saying that basically because of the combination of like football already being like a concussion nightmare, the fact that the XFL is way more aggressive and showy than the NFL is, and just like the general reality of how sports works, it's just going to be a nonstop concussion factory.
Yeah, that's something that I was actually asked during the press conference, and it sort of speaks to that reactionary tensions that is always there in America today, where you want these sort of Christian, quote unquote, family friendly values, but you also want like the SJWs to like stop being so sensitive, and you want like edgy and all that kind of shit. So he was saying like, oh, we want faster football, and we want all the spectacular stuff, but we also want it to be free of politics, and we want it to be family friendly, fast, easily digestible information. And so it's not going to be very legible to me. It's not. It's just me spitting out a hot take, but I don't think it's going to be very good.
American football is already completely inscrutable to me, so this is just going to be like gobbledygook. I think
nonsense.
Isn't one of the things about XFL that they also don't like break for halftime or anything like that?
No halftime.
Yeah.
No halftime. 10 regular season games. 8 teams of 40 players. Less penalties. So they have players who are paid less, can't express themselves, which is also garbage. I'm sure they're going to have like similar independent contract laws that they would have in the WWE versus like you being signed to a team. You're technically an employee of the team.
No doubt. They're not even doing franchises.
Yeah. Every labor practice is going to be worse.
So it's super aggressive football with less breaks. It's basically just going to be naughty players get put in the football wiggler to atone for their crimes.
Yeah, exactly. And that wiggle is how they're all going to get deadly concussions that are absolutely going to kill someone within 2 years of the sport.
Can you believe that Will Smith movie about football concussions didn't end concussions in football forever?
Yeah, it's funny how that just didn't work.
Yeah.
It's almost like Hollywood just doesn't mean anything.
It's weird because I use my movie pass to do my activism, and it hasn't solved many social ills yet.
It's funny. It's just funny how that works.
We forgot to mention the funniest thing about XFL, which is the nicknames.
The actually good part of XFL, yeah,
it rules.
For sure.
Is that all of the players, instead of having like their actual like last names as humans on the back of their jerseys, they have these nicknames. And my favorite one is the one that just says "He hate me."
Right.
See, that's good. I think that's very good.
So yeah, out of all, actually, you know what? I changed my mind. The XFL is good now because of this thing.
And it's not racist.
Thanks, Vince.
Oh no, it's not racist at all.
It's not racist.
It's extremely
why-
racist, folks.
Well, why would you even say that?
I just, friend of the show, speaker on the show, Andy, I just want to point out, on Twitter, they straight up called it Dog Whistle Football League, which is basically what it is. Like, it's literally, it's people who, it's the old white people who don't like all the showiness and, you know, who need a certain type of person to be humble compulsorily all the time.
Yeah.
And also they need to stand for the damn national anthem.
Yeah. Andy also said in the Discord, Vince McMahon made a racist CTE factory,
Yeah.
which is very good.
Thank you, Andy, for making me look up what a CTE is.
Yes.
I learned something today.
Yeah, it's Chris Benoit disease.
Oh God.
Hey, I do want to mention, Brooke, since you just mentioned MoviePass. Apparently, MoviePass decided to do a fun corporation thing and just not allow access to its service at a bunch of really prominent AMC theaters, like the big ones in New York, LA, and Boston. And they didn't tell anyone about it, so that their customers would get mad at AMC instead.
Well, that's cool.
Well,
Don't you
So
love
like,
when
wait,
corporations
why
do
did they
this?
decide this?
Because they've been in a long-standing feud with AMC, because AMC doesn't like that they drop their subscription rates so low, because now you can see a movie a day for a flat rate of $10 a month. AMC is worried that this will affect the culturally perceived value of going to the movies and make it harder for them to price their movies at a place that they can keep their business open.
Right.
Which, as
See, the
we
thing
all
about
know...
that,
What were you going to say?
that's dog shit bullshit, dumbass fuck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's fucking dumb.
Pretty
Especially
bad.
because most people do not see more than one movie a month. Get out of here.
If I had Movie Pass, I would absolutely see every piece of shit that passed through the theaters, but
Oh,
it
it
is
rules.
not available in Canada. And see, the thing about me is that when I go to the movies, they are making their money back on concessions because
Right.
I am a big popcorn boy. I love to eat my popcorn.
Yeah, I'm
and
not-
this
Popcorn
I'm
at
a
my
fucking-
movie theater, it's more expensive than the fucking ticket.
Right, I'm a dumbass and I get the large popcorn every time I go to the movies and end
Oh,
up
of
throwing
course.
half of it
Why
out.
wouldn't you?
Now, I'm a pretzel bite boy. I love me a pretzel bite. And AMC
Hello?
recently, this is a call out post. I'm just going to be upfront about it. AMC changed their cheese, and they have cheese that you can dip your pretzel bites in, and it's good to taste and put in your mouth. And I would go there and I would say, 1 ticket for The Shape of Water, please. And then I would get my pretzel bites and it would be delicious. And then one day I went there and they said, hey, this cheese is too good. Let's make it bad. And then they changed their cheese and it's bad. So fuck AMC. Corporations are bad now.
Yeah, what, now?
Yeah, it's like how...
Yeah, starting now.
Starting now.
Like as of when this recording goes live.
Yeah, so the last good company was the XFL.
Made it in just under the wire.
They got it in 1.
They got it in 1. I mean, in 2. It's the second
Yeah.
time.
Well,
No, well, this is distinct from XFL. This is 2 XFL.
Yeah, the other one was
XXFL.
XFL Classics. Yeah, exactly.
so that's all that happened this week, huh?
Are we going to talk about, since we're talking about movies now, are we going to talk about the Oscars at all? The noms?
I call
mean,
it movie
I
ball.
don't
There's
really
a,
have
there,
anything
we
to
have
add.
one question for the Oscar noms, so we can wait till
Okay,
questions for
cool. What else we
that.
got?
I wanted to talk a little bit about Canadian politics.
Oh yeah, I was
for
wondering
it.
when we were going to get to that. The good shit.
Just talk about why Canada and liberal democracy is good, and then we'll move on to the rest of the stuff.
Brooks, did you want to talk about Enzo?
I can do that right now.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can do that
you can do it right now.
Okay, so former WWE wrestler Enzo Amore was recently suspended and then fired because because on Twitter somebody accused him of raping her back in like October, and Enzo in addition to just like his friends like basically publicly sicking them on her, like he did not report it to the WWE that he was under investigation, and it's just a whole bad look, and it's extremely bad, and he was fired, and it's I mean, it's the first time something like this has happened in wrestling, in that like a sitting champion was so unceremoniously fired, which is cool and good. However, I'm hesitant to give WWE any sort of credit on that because they have a wealth of abusers and sexual abusers in their Hall of Fame and on their programming, and it's bad, but it's very cool. Enzo Amore, retire, enemy. He's bad.
He's bad. And I felt particularly stupid about this because like the last thing I'd posted in Wrestle General in the PGOT chat was the video of him with his license photo, which I thought was really funny. And then the next thing was oops.
Yeah, I used to like him as a performer. He was entertaining in NXT,
You did?
but then
I hate to look at and hear him.
yeah, and then the WWE
He's very
thing
bombastic and he has very, very good crowd skills. That's it.
When you show up on WWE TV, you are given a script, and all the script says is "be mean to women," and so you read it, and then you look at the nearest woman in the audience that's mean in the ring, and you say you're a pussy, and then the crowd says, "Yeah, you're my hero, and I'm gonna go buy your T-shirt now." And that's pretty much that's how John Cena worked. That's how Stone Cold worked. Chris Jericho, The Rock, all of them have worked like that.
Yeah, it's good. It's good as
You'd
the
be
thing.
mean to a woman, and then everybody's like, "I'm gonna buy your hideous merch now."
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So
But
yeah, he'll never be back, and I'll never have to see him again, and it's great.
it's
Yeah.
good. It's it's good that even like a traditionally conservative Republican owned industry like the WWE can still have sexual abuse that actually gets someone kicked out.
Yeah.
Because the public pressure is really high on it, which is it's good. It's a good thing that we have this now.
Yeah, I'm glad that it happened, but given the sort of the cultural climate shift, which again is good, I do think that they had very little choice. He also had a lot of heat on him in terms of just being a completely unlikable piece of shit. So it seemed like a no-brainer. But it's good.
It does feel like it was mostly at least the suspension, I'm sure that they would have done no matter what, but the actual firing seems like it was definitely retaliatory because he didn't tell them that he had an arrest record.
Right.
Well, yeah, because there was a lot of dipshits on Twitter who were basically just like, why is she just reported this now?
Right.
And it's like, yeah, no, psych, there was an active investigation for the last 3 months.
Right, and the what is it? The Wrestling Observer put out a fucking hit piece on the victim disguised as a general covering of the events. Did you happen to read that, Brooks? Because
and it turns out wrestling journalism is reactionary and bad. It was just a bunch of shit about how, did you know that she was on medication for mental illnesses? Oh fuck.
Did you know that she was a Snapchat model? Whew.
Yeah, it's just extremely sex shamey and ableist and very bad. And it's as somebody who used to be in the trenches of wrestling journalism, I can say that it's fucking bad.
Wait, were you?
I used to do results for a website. I didn't do the dirt stuff.
I mean, you had a podcast too. I remember. There was a wrestling podcast. It existed.
Yeah. It was called Dolph Ziggler's Pokemon Going to Die.
Damn, you got that name well before the game even came out. That's pretty good.
Yeah, well, I hated him a lot.
So you guys know how racism doesn't exist in Canada and it's a perfect liberal paradise?
Yeah.
Yes, go on.
I have heard this.
Well, about that, it's not true.
Go on.
I'm not sure I buy this.
Yeah, well, I'm just gonna go through it just bit by bit. So, this coming Monday is the first anniversary of the mosque shooting that happened last year, and as you guys may know, Canada is not super big on the multiple shooting scale. We can't just have 2 shootings happen in 1 week and one of them barely makes the news.
Right.
That's just not how it goes up here.
Sounds fake, but okay.
Yeah. There was a big shooting, and they made guns harder to get, and then there has been significantly less shooting since then. But I digress. A kid, I say kid, he was he's in his early 20s, went into a mosque to he was acting like he was going there to pray, and then he shot everyone who was in there, and I think there was 6 or 7 dead, and this was a year ago. So after the shooting happened, this shooting happened like after a like severed pig's head was dropped on the mosque's doorstep, like a week before. So like if this was taken seriously at all, then something could have been done to prevent it. There could have been literally any investigation whatsoever. But the thing about Canada is that they like to pretend racism isn't happening when it's happening.
Right.
And so
we wouldn't know anything about that here in America.
That's true. I mean, I feel like the States is at least slightly more willing to admit that there has been a racism before.
Right.
Whereas Canada likes to pretend that it never happened.
We're just louder in general,
Right.
is the thing.
That's true. So, like, essentially what happened right after this is there was a whole bunch of religious debate in Quebec about public displays of religion. So they were trying to like get so you couldn't wear like a hijab or a burqa while receiving a public service. This was something that they were trying to pass like right before this happened, and then they kind of backed off on that. And then the government that was responsible for that got like kicked out of power because like the provincial liberals were basically just like, those guys are racist. Don't just elect us instead. We're not racist. And then guess fucking what? They tried to put the same goddamn law through. And then they succeeded because they have a majority because they got elected on the promise of not being the racist ones.
just like famous American hero Doug Jones.
Exactly. And the super good thing about it is like this law was passed down in like the main Quebec courthouse. Behind the judge in said courthouse, there is a giant Jesus. Like, just, like, a huge 2-meter tall, like, Jesus with, like, the crown of thorns and the hole in his side. And, there's no problem with displaying Christian symbols. It's just
of course
it's non-Christian symbols, right? Anyway,
wasn't there, like, a huge thing in America where, like, the 10 Commandments had to be removed from a courthouse and people freaked out about it?
The good thing about the 10 Commandments monuments is that the same guy got arrested twice for driving over the 10 Commandments monument in different states, which is super good. Like 2 separate times got arrested for doing the same thing, which is hitting a 10 Commandments monument with his truck.
Like on purpose?
Oh, absolutely. He was intentionally trying to destroy
bad driver?
They kept fucking building them on the highway. It was annoying.
Boy, that monument came out of nowhere.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's just basically the way it's boiled down. And this anniversary is going to come up on Monday. And then there's like Jordan Peterson, who you guys may have seen a little bit about. He's the guy who refuses to use neutral pronouns for his trans students.
Right, yeah.
He says feminists support the rights of Muslims because their unconscious wish for brutal male domination. That's a normal thing for a person to say. And he still has a job. He still has a job at U of T. And incarceration rates in Saskatchewan from the 2006 census show that Aboriginal people are jailed at a rate from 18 to 30 times the regular population.
That's pretty high.
That's pretty high is the thing. And, racism, it just doesn't happen here.
Doesn't Canada also have, like, a huge Indigenous people's, like, suicide problem?
Oh, yeah.
Like, especially among youth?
Like, essentially, there's a lot of youth suicides, and not only that, there's also a high Indigenous youth murder rate. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of Western Ontario reserves that send their kids to Thunder Bay, and it turns out kids in Thunder Bay keep ending up murdered and thrown into the river. This is just a normal thing that happens, and that no one was doing anything about for years.
Oh Christ!
So yeah, and the youth suicides is because they keep taking away funding for the various reserves. Like, there are still over 50 reserves that are on boil water advisories. Some of them have been on them for 10 years, and some of them were specifically on boil water advisories because of some policy enacted by a nearby city. So, like, they were replacing the water system for one city, so they flooded an aquifer, which actually cut off road access to this one reserve, who you now have to get there by boat, and it also, ran into their water and, filled it with poison.
Canada's good.
This is a normal thing that just happens all the fucking time. And I really wanted to get mad about it in public, so thank you for indulging me.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. Anytime. Listen, anything that we can broadcast to make people aware that Canada is just as bad as the United States and they shouldn't move there Like,
It's really bad. And the thing about it is that, like, people are finally starting to, I mean, not necessarily from the left, but people are starting to, like, you know, finally call Justin Trudeau out on his bullshit because he's kind of, like, just, like, really just a fake person. Like, everything about him is so constructed. And now his approval rating is lower than the previous prime minister who got trounced by Justin Trudeau in the last election. So we'll see how that goes. I'm sure it'll just be
great.
And, you know, it's like he campaigned on the promise of electoral reform to possibly get rid of the system that would benefit the Liberals the most and switch to a proportional system, which would actually be more representative of the population. But he didn't do that, and now everyone's going to vote for him again anyway just to avoid the Conservatives winning.
Now,
It's good.
There's one thing you gotta know about a dissatisfied population is that they love to swarm towards forces of reaction on the right wing. So I'm glad to hear that Canada is going to offer a bold, actual far left vision that will actually benefit the working class, that will spur a move leftward in society and will not fall further right towards the realm of reaction, just like in the United States.
Yeah, see, the thing is, we actually have a left-wing party, because, like, there's, like, 5 federal parties that actually have seats.
wait, you have more than 2?
We have more than 2, is
What the fuck?
Did Susan Sarandon move up there?
Yeah, she's the leader of the Green Party. It's fine. But, like, there is an actual political choice that you could make to consciously move left, but people are just afraid of doing it because the economy or some shit.
Matt, I have a Canada politics question
What's
for
up?
you. How do you feel about Prime Minister Kevin O'Leary?
Well, first of all, it's not happening because he came out of the race of that one. And also,
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he was one of the candidates for the leader of the Conservative Party, and he actually dropped out before the vote happened. And it was super funny because everyone expected Maxime Bernier to win because he's a Quebec politician. He's been around forever. He has a lot of clout in the party. But instead, a religious right person ended up winning the leadership of the party, which is good. That's what we need, is to be more reactionary.
I love to move to the center. I don't know about y'all.
Well, no, so he's not moving to the center. He is moving much further to the right.
Well, I mean,
'Cause, like,
you
Maxime
gotta
Bernier-
compromise.
Yeah, Maxime Bernier is one of those, like, I would call him, like, more like he's more like a conservative liberal in a lot of his policies. Like, he's like a business liberal. He's not super right on a lot of social issues.
So he's fiscally conservative but socially liberal, you're saying?
Yeah. So he's still a hypocrite, but you know.
So he's not. Maybe not so, like, outwardly viscerally homophobic, but still invested in capital over people's lives is what you're
Yes,
getting
absolutely.
at. Yeah.
That's most
Great.
politicians, but still.
Well, that's the best we can hope for.
That's the best we can hope for, is that they won't outwardly say they're trying to kill us.
Right. If they do drones politely like Obama did, then we can all just go out and be having our usual lattes.
Yeah, exactly.
Was it polite or just quiet?
It wasn't quiet.
Well, not.
See, the thing about
not
drones
Meryl.
is that they're actually really fucking loud.
Was it polite or just far away?
It was far away.
Damn, that's pretty much all the foreign policy, huh? It's just
Yeah,
very far
all right.
away.
So, do we have anything else besides the shooting thing? Because I think that's going to be kind of a rough note to end on.
Yeah,
get into that.
that's what we were gonna end with, I think.
So, yeah, I guess this is the last big story we have to talk about. This last Monday in Marshall County, Kentucky, a student walked into his high school and started shooting people. 2 students were killed. Bailey Holt and Preston Cope, both 15, and another 18 were injured. And the same Monday in Italy, Texas, another girl was shot, also by a fellow student. And it's really hard for me to talk about this because I know just in my heart that this is going to change nothing. This is not a new take, obviously. These are going to keep happening. They're going to keep happening, multiple times a week, multiple times a day. And it's just not going to get anywhere. And I don't really get how anybody can look at this and feel anything else besides just anger.
They barely got reported. Like, it honestly,
Yeah.
to God, if it wasn't for like paying attention to like what people from this podcast that we're on now are saying, I wouldn't know about this.
Yeah, and like someone had pointed out, like the Kentucky shooting, like the one where people died, registered between National Pie Day, which is not a thing, and the 21st anniversary of the Spice World movie on Twitter trends.
Great.
And the other one didn't register at all because no one died.
Great. Yeah.
No, a girl did die.
Wait. Really?
At the Texas one.
Yep, her name has not been released yet, but she was
Okay.
dead.
Oh shoot.
So yeah, only one person died. Yeah,
Right.
so that's like
that's the level we've sunk
yeah,
Right.
exactly. It's just it's fucking tiring, and like again, like I think someone said this last week too, in talking about shootings, or possibly a different time. But like once it was decided that the deaths of children at Sandy Hook didn't matter for gun control debate, it was over. Like it was. That's why it could never happen, is because it didn't happen then.
Yeah.
I mean, it can.
Right.
Not
But-
to like completely push jokes out of the room, but like where I'm living now is like a couple towns over from Sandy Hook, and every once in a while like I will drive through there, and like that town is still like visibly affected by like what happened. There's reminders of it everywhere. Like it seems like the whole town kind of took a major swing towards like being more like committed to being compassionate like in their daily lives, which like go figure that like a tragedy would do something like that. But if only
It's just a shame it didn't happen on the national scale.
right, exactly. It's like everybody's basically
Yeah.
forgotten about it. You could, like, I just feel like at this point you could comfortably like queue up your Twitter to retweet that fucking Onion article like every 3 weeks, and like you wouldn't be that far off the mark.
Not even.
Like it's almost every week now.
Yeah, we've in this country so far we've had 11, and it's the 25th day of the year.
That's like
And that depends on how you define it too, because I'm
Right.
pretty sure it gets wider when you define it in different ways.
like
That's 11 school
Like,
Oh,
shootings.
that's
by the
school
way, to
shootings.
clarify.
That's just school
that's
ones.
just
Yeah.
school shootings. Oh,
Yep,
okay,
me.
fine.
that is school shootings.
Okay, like where are we at with like general mass shootings? Do we know?
I'm not sure.
I don't even want to think about it. But like the fact that like I didn't know about any of this, like I don't know if that says like me, like I'm a person who's like not keeping myself informed, or if it's literally just like the national conversation is just like we don't care anymore.
I think it is that. I mean, it's impossible to. The news cycle moves so fast, and the country's just become so numb to fucking gun violence aimed at children that you just can't hear about all these things because they aren't reported
Have
to
you ever gotten into an argument with somebody who genuinely believes that like Sandy Hook is just like the price that we had to pay? Because it's like
Yeah.
like I'm not a violent person, and I wouldn't say that I'm a particularly angry person, but like I like it felt like my blood was boiling. Like I was just like as mad as I've ever been. Like I was.
I mean,
ready
there's
to...
people who say Sandy Hook was just a fucking false flag.
Oh my god.
That's honestly less bad.
Yeah.
to me.
Because if you don't believe that it happened, then it's like, why would it matter? It's not real. If you believe that it happened and that children actually died, and you're like, well, that's fine to me. Like, sucks to suck.
Yeah, I suppose,
Like,
yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
1,000 times worse. You're like, you're the worst person in the universe at that point.
And yet there's literally thousands of people who hold that opinion genuinely and can sleep at night.
It's a
Thousands, you
testament
say?
to sort of
That's-
our country's sense of alienation. Like we are so disconnected from one another, and not in like a shitty Black Mirror cell phones way, but in a not caring for people around us way. It's not a problem until you were literally in a mass shooting. Otherwise, like
Right.
If it's not literally happening to you. Well, it's like that brings another point, that like something that we had in our notes for this week is the Davos Economic Forum was this week, and
Fuck onions.
yeah, fuck Davos.
yeah, it was posted by Oxfam that the amount of money that billionaires made last year, not their total net worth, but the amount they made last year, could have ended world poverty 7 times over. And that's just a normal thing that we accept as being the reality. Like, this is a
they
normal
earned
and
it,
good thing.
yeah.
Yeah, Matt, they're just like, don't You're being prejudiced, and you just need to consider that maybe they're just working 1,000 times. Maybe Jeff Bezos is just working several billion times harder per day than the people dying of exhaustion.
Can we fucking
In
talk
his warehouse.
Can we talk about his dumbass like grocery store that solves nothing?
More like Amazon Stop.
More
Yeah,
like
'cause
Amazon Go collect unemployment checks. So what it is it's a convenience store, like
I call it an inconvenience store.
It's a convenience store where the whole idea is that there are no human cashiers, and you pay entirely using your phone, and you just walk in and out, and technology like solves the problem of like figuring out what you picked up off the shelf and like deducting that amount from your account. So they do have some human staff because like people have to stock the shelves. Like they haven't built robots that can do that yet.
People have to shoot shoplifters.
Right. They do have apparently like security personnel. They have, I think, some people that like make some stuff to order. Or I think there are some things that are cooked like in the store and then packaged and sold by weight or something like that. So you're talking about a store that in one of the reports that I read, I think they said that there were like 6 visible employees like in the store. But this is for like an opening week like launch event.
Yeah.
So this is a store that, near as I can tell, solves no problems. Like, correct me if I'm wrong.
Isn't that just venture capital? Isn't
That's
that venture
exactly
capital
what
in general?
it is. That's exactly what it is. It's a
Like,
store
it's solving
that
the problems that nobody fucking asked.
Right. Nobody has ever walked into a 7-Eleven and been like, this is taking too long. Because you walk in, you grab your shitty fucking hot dog or whatever, you spend 0.2 seconds in line, and you leave. But
yeah,
this is
but
saying,
what if you take public transit there and you have to sit next to a poor?
What if the person working behind the counter isn't white?
you know, you raise very important points, and Jeff Bezos solved all of your problems by creating a store where we can become even more alienated from each other and walk into a store, grab something, and walk out without having to talk to another human being. And it takes up retail space that could theoretically create jobs for people. And all it does is make Jeff Bezos billions of dollars richer. I think on the opening day that the stores opened, he made like I don't even remember what the amount was, because money isn't
his
real.
His personal stock value, like the amount of stock that he holds in Amazon, went up in value by $23 billion.
Yeah, so great. And that money's not going back into the community where these stores.
Oh God, no!
existing.
He doesn't even pay his own workers.
He's getting around to it. He's gonna put it back in the economy.
He's gonna bury it in the earth.
This actually dovetails super nicely into questions, because their first question is related to Jeff Bezos.
Oh, great.
Hi, Hiccup to Good.
Hi.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. I recently moved to Seattle, and I'm just wondering, when is Jeff Bezos' Pokemon going to die? Because I have this great idea about redistributing his wealth to solve literally every problem that every poor person in the city has.
Right. So here's the thing. Is Jeff Bezos, when compared to individuals like Henry Kissinger, is like a young guy. And he's also got essentially infinity money. So, if we're lucky, he might die eventually in the very far future.
Pokemon going to die way before
Yeah,
him.
we're all going to die probably centuries before Jeff Bezos does. We want to make it very clear that this podcast is not advocating for anybody to die. It's really important that we get that across.
We just like to celebrate the mortality of people we don't like. We do not necessarily accelerate that mortality, because that would make us accelerationists, and that's a dog shit ideology.
We're not as radical as Chuck Schumer.
We're not as radical as everyone's third favorite Doug Jones. He's gonna live forever. He is. I feel he's gonna.
Yeah, he probably
Jeff
will.
Bezos is Pokemon going to upload his consciousness to the internet.
Yeah, and then continue collecting dividends from his company. I'm sure he'll even starve
The
out
one-
his own children.
Oh my God, he's going to become the first human to become a factory.
He's gonna be the first human to have just several people die inside him in one day.
Are we sure that would be the first? Can we say with certainty?
No, I suppose in cases. No, Probably
There was
not.
there was that Magic School Bus episode where they all went inside Miss Frizzle and then Arthur died.
Wait, they went inside Miss Frizzle?
Yeah.
No, didn't they go in one of the kids?
No, yeah,
They absolutely went
Yeah,
Arnold.
no, it was
You
Arnold.
fucking-
Was sick. Arnold
I'm
was sick.
lying. I was doing a bit.
You're not allowed to do bits
one.
about the Magic School Bus. It's the sacred texts.
Okay, great. Then can I yell about fucking automation and how it should be like if I went okay, so if I warged into Christian hell and I went and picked up Karl Marx for the sin of trying to help people and I got him out of hell and I said, "Hey, you're back in meat space." And if he saw fucking robots, he would shit through his eyeballs about how fucking potentially liberating that is and how it's like, oh great, so now you have all of this leisure time and you have this apparatus to sort of to help you to be alive, and so now you can just fucking go paint or whatever. I'm Karl Marx. But it's instead we live in hell and it's bad and it's even more alienating because hey, robots are perfect because they can't unionize or ask for health insurance.
Yeah,
Right.
it's good.
Yeah.
Do you know how many times I've like been talking about like the minimum wage or something and had someone argue with me like, why should you be paid like $15 an hour to do something a robot could do? Because if a robot can do it, I should not have to. That's why.
Right. Yeah.
It's
Also,
yeah,
you're fucking
I mean-
selling your fucking life. You're selling your time. If you're it's always this fucking argument about, oh, you're flipping patties for $15 an hour. If I'm fucking sitting in a room by myself doing jack shit, I still deserve $15 an hour if I can't fucking leave. Because you're selling your energy and your time to this fucking company that is sapping labor value from you. Not to
And
be the
keep in
fucking
mind-
ivory tower Marxist of the fucking pod, but
Every
it's what's
single
happening.
every single person who says like, "Oh, you're just flipping burgers. Why should you get $50 an hour?" They're getting like probably $20 an hour to work in a cubicle. So
yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's the thing about office work is that it's even less productive.
Yeah, I mean, I work in an office, and you know how much time I spend a day on Twitter? At my boss, don't listen to this.
It also it functions to fucking like it makes the fucking like the middle class. It gives them that sort of sense of, oh, at least I'm not them, the fucking shitty lower class people who are flipping burgers. I'm making $20 a month. I've made it. I'm going to be rich, rather than actually, building working class solidarity and realizing that their boss is exploiting them and that kind of shit.
Yeah, it's not duck season or rabbit season. It's Elmer season.
It is Elmer season.
Yeah. This is why I'm hopeful about artificial intelligence, because as soon as somebody designs a robot that can be exploited, shit's gonna hit the fan.
Yeah, because those robots are gonna be like, well, we're gonna Skynet this shit right now.
Right, exactly. They
The thing about those,
Okay, but here's
thing
the
about,
problem. Here's the problem. That Skynet, his name was Jeff Bezos.
Shit. So the thing about like artificial intelligence robots is that the whole Skynet thing. It's always like we're gonna completely eradicate the human race, but I feel like those AIs are gonna be like, well, we're gonna see where the actual problem is, and they're just gonna perpetually kill the 20 richest people every year, just a perpetual
Right.
guillotining of the 20 richest people.
problem
Problem
solved.
solved. What if Karl Marx current day? For instance, Engels get iPad. This is a question from Alex Leafcrunch, friend of the show.
Hey, Alex.
What if well we already answered Karl Marx current day. I guess Engels gets iPad.
I was
Yeah, he does.
I was thinking that talking about artificial intelligence, what if Jerry become iPad?
Oh shit. Jerry could be iPad.
Jerry could be iPad.
Jerry
All right, next
inside.
I do
iPhone?
fucking like it's very fucking like Karl Marx would. I've already said that he'd be shitting out of his eyeballs, and just like the way that like his vision has not come to pass, because his manifesto is very much like, it's coming, it's happening, get ready, get angry, get red, get nude, get mad, and now it's kind of.
Get ready for some football.
It's like, it's not. I mean, we're kind of, in many ways, we're returning to like Silicon Valley feudalism. And it's not kind of the way that his arc of history was sort of seeing. And then he would say, okay, I'm gonna go die now, and then I'm gonna go back into my grave. And then he would see that you have to fucking pay to go to his grave, and then he would astral project into Engels' grave, and then they would, because I ship it, and they'd live together for the rest of their lives.
Just 69 right below the Earth.
Yeah, Marks and Angles would be 69. He wouldn't like it.
Yeah. Here's a question from host of the show, Luna. Hey, Hiccup-to-Ga, long-time host, first-time asker. Nice. What does Henry Kissinger's, more like Jissinger's, dick look like? Thanks, bye.
Okay, now Jissinger that's a concept I can get into.
It's drill-shaped.
I think probably like the Grinch's.
Okay, but, like, you want to explain further?
No, I don't. I want to leave that a mystery for the
Just
the
like
audience.
the Grinch's dick, because yeah, okay, no, I can get that. I can down with that. Let's just end question. Question's
It looks
done.
like a single candy corn.
Oh, you mean, like, Homestuck. Anyway.
Podcast canceled. We're actually they're just closing up shop today. Here's a question from literally a fat hairy lesbian. Good URL.
Great.
I really want to be more active politically, but I haven't been motivated to go to protests because of depression and being tired from working 2 jobs. Mood. Any good ideas for how to be supportive or involved in local protests and organizations from home? P.S. John Cornyn, retire bitch.
I mean, like, jokes aside, local DSA chapters? You got those?
Yeah, that's a good
Because
one.
I've been meaning to get my life in order and go to one of those, but I'm extremely lazy and bad, so I haven't.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is, and I know this is not really the advice you want to hear, but speaking as one of the many resident mental illness don't want to leave my house boys on the podcast, sometimes you just gotta, if it's something that really means a lot to you, and I'm not saying that you have to do this, often or even, more than once every however long, but if it's something that really means a lot to you and you think that showing up might make a difference, try with what you can to get out there.
Yeah, well, it's like if you're going to a protest, like if you want to like scale into that a little bit, you can go without a sign. You could be a little less confrontational, but you're still another body on the street. You can go to political organization meetings like the DSA. You don't necessarily have to say anything right away. Like, just another body in the room. Just getting yourself out there, learning is another big one. Just learning, reading, anything like that.
Yeah.
Just trying to get yourself more educated on what the different ways to do it. And then this is necessarily, like the DSA isn't a perfect organization, but like, trying to support something a little to the left of the Democrats, maybe just a little bit.
Yeah, and when you going to a protest or a march, I have some pretty severe discomfort about going to those sorts of things where I don't know anybody and et cetera, et cetera. And I was very pleasantly surprised with the sort of broad leftist groups that come out for those sorts of things. So the DSA was there, the PSL was there, IWW. There were like all the groups that I see arguing on Left Book were basically there. And it's really, I always, and it's the function of marches or protests, of course, isn't to make yourself feel better, but there is a certain invigoration that I typically get. Even if I'm like, I don't really know if I feel like going to this, I typically there is a sort of invigoration that comes from seeing even more than online that there are these other bodies out here who also give a shit and who see the world, who see a better future like I do, and it can be a really powerful thing. There's a lot of critiques of marches and whatnot, but I think it's often better than not doing it. But there are also they're educating yourself and diving into literature are other ways to do it. Talking to your friends at work about starting a union. I'm the friend that people come to when they like want to talk about why they hate their job or why capitalism is bad. Like being that sort of, positioning yourself as that sort of resource is a perfectly like powerful way of doing the work. So
if I can speak a little bit about like, because like I can sort of relate to the whole like mental health like makes it very hard to like get
we are all
involved in
have
things.
depression.
So yes, we are all have depression. I was reading something the other day, and like your mileage may vary on whether or not this actually applies to you. But it was talking a little bit about like the nature of depression and how like a lot of the time, depression and other adjacent mental health issues kind of stem from feeling like you don't have control over your life. And I think that political activism or really any number of things where you're just sort of like giving yourself like a thing to go and do, are a good way of making yourself feel like you have control over like one little thing, and that kind of makes you feel a lot less alienated from just sort of the trajectory you're on, and I think that can be good.
Yeah, just like the act of doing literally anything is often better than the feeling of just doing nothing.
Yeah. Even posting
it sounds
is doing
obvious,
something.
but really it's not as obvious as it seems sometimes. Because you generally will feel powerless in this environment because the environment is literally designed to make you feel powerless.
Right.
Hey, I just did. This is a question from Blepsbien. Hey, I just did some thoughts with my genius brain, and I wondered what if instead of government, it was government. Please discuss.
I don't get it.
What if it was government?
That was indeed the question. What if the
but
the capitalist system devoured us all? Next question. This isn't even a question.
What if it was a capital-lick system and it
Hey, I don't like
licked
it.
you and then swallowed you?
I hate to hear it.
This one isn't a question, but Futch Cassidy just sent Rupert Murdoch retire, bitch.
He's gonna die exactly a year from now.
Yeah.
Good.
Thanks. The
Not a
curse
threat,
has
just
been-
a prediction.
Yeah, no, not a threat, just a prediction. We have cast. We did not cast a spell. It is just a thing that might happen. Who knows?
But do reblog to cast. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Ape of Naples said, "Is flat Earth real?" The answer is yes.
Yeah.
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 What can we
know
say
this.
about this that has not already been said?
Yeah, it's just so unequivocally real.
And
Flat,
also it's a
more
giant
like
turtle.
the characters on Game of Thrones.
Hey!
You love
Did I
to
do
see
it?
it.
Did I make
you
a
did
joke?
good job.
Yeah. You get one.
Thanks.
You get one. I just want to close out with this one, but just because we are running a little long.
I'll tell you what's running a little long. Late capitalism. Come on,
Yeah.
folks. Let's move to the next stage already.
I guess I never went into the Twitter questions, so I'll jump in there just a little bit first.
Yeah.
Cool.
XFL will get canned immediately versus XFL will be popular because we live in Trump's America versus XFL will be popular because people are going to watch it ironically.
It's gonna be that.
gonna
third one.
watch
No,
it
it's gonna
ironically.
be two. It's gonna be two. Like, yeah, I
think?
think this is like, because XFL is like kind of like the dumbest concept like that any of us can think of. I think. So I think now we're all kind of like dumber as a society. Like that, like the waves of like being like dumb as shit at all times emanate directly from the White House across this entire nation. It's just a big orb of confusion. So we're all gonna watch it and we're all gonna love it and we're all gonna eat bachelor chow while we watch it.
Another Twitter question that I actually we'd actually already had our answers set out for was Funny Brooks rate the pronunciations of Kafefe.
Okay, so
Great bait, Brooks. Moving on.
the one I just don't like. I don't like when it first came out, when Trump finally dropped that fire. There were some news people who were saying like "kafif."
Yeah. You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of that person who tried to create a meme and it was like the scorpion that was like the opposite of Pepe. And
Yeah,
it was like
Fifi.
yeah, and it's
It's
pronounced
Fief.
it's pronounced Fief. So Kafif.
But she's
Well,
good.
Yeah, I changed
That
my
would
mind.
make
It's
it
good
good.
actually.
Yeah, see, though, I'm actually going to disagree with Brooks and say that it's good.
Well, we're all thieves under capitalism.
Nice. Number one on your list seems to be cum feet.
Now, Funny Luna posted that in there. My number one was originally the Kafefe, which is the way that I read it, so I think that's the best. Kafifi is also up there. I just think that one sounds a little bit too silly and disrespectful to our president.
That's true and fair. So the last question is it's just a nice little question just to get away from all the evils in the world and get into the evils specifically in Hollywood. What are the official Hikiptiga Oscar picks? I guess we'll stick with like best picture, best director ones and not get
Isaac
too out
is
of it.
good. Meyer is good.
My vote would go to Shape of Water and Guillermo for both, but Get Out and Jordan Peele right behind in second place
See,
I'm-
like I
wait,
feel like
for every
they
category.
so rarely give director and picture in the same year that
They probably won't be the same.
Yeah, if it was going to be like a split, then I would go with Guillermo. I would go with The Shape of Water for Best Picture and Jordan Peele for Best Director.
But
Yeah.
here's the thing: we all know it's just gonna be the fucking Post.
It's going to be
It
the
is
fucking
gonna be the
Post
Post.
because it's just like I know like people call a lot of movies Oscar bait, but that's like transparently Oscar
Yeah,
bait.
this movie, The Post, was grown in a lab to win an Oscar.
It was literally grown in a lab to win Oscars, and it's like
they didn't film it. Like they made it in a fucking petri dish.
yeah, like
It's
and, like, you
literally
look at-
fucking. It's Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks at fucking UCB just doing fucking liberal improv.
Yeah,
Oh my
and like
God.
every screen of that movie that I've seen, every video, everything, it's just like a weird gray and brown. Like it's the ugliest fucking movie
It is the
I've
most
ever seen.
visually boring movie, like based on again,
Yeah, and, like-
the little I've seen. It's like, hey, you want to know when this movie takes place? Just look at the fucking color palette.
Like the medium is the fucking message, Marshall McLuhan, motherfuckers.
Hell yeah,
And-
motherfucker!
and they are very not using their visual medium at all. So why is this picture worth anything, let alone being best?
My favorite dumb thing about The Post and how it doesn't need to exist is how like The Post wasn't even the newspaper that actually broke the Pentagon Papers. It was the Times.
Oh, good.
And
Yeah, but-
people have literally like brought this up like at pressers for this movie and been like, "Hey, why did you make this movie about the wrong newspaper?" And like literally the transparent reason that they've all given is like so that we could have Meryl Streep in it.
Right.
History is written by the Bezos, and
History
it's-
is written by literally Meryl Streep, who has, I think this is her 18th Oscar nomination. And like Meryl Streep is good, don't get me wrong here. But is she like 18 nominations good? Is every performance she's given the best performance of that year?
Honestly, I think that the most if our official take was to be Meryl Streep overrated, I think that would be the hottest take on this podcast so far.
Yeah, I mean she's pretty good.
It feels very performative. Like
I'll tell you what's fucking performative. I haven't seen the movie yet, but the trailer, like the fucking Tom Hanks's shitty mid-Atlantic accent for some reason.
Why is
Like,
he
every
always
trailer-
doing that in every movie that's set in the
He's
past?
like fucking, what are you going to do, Meryl Streep? It's like nobody talks like that.
I'm Tom Hanks. And
I thought he
I'm
was
in
doing a
this
shitty
movie.
Richard Nixon at first. Like, who the fuck are you?
Wait, like literally though. Who is
I
he?
thought he was fucking Richard Nixon at first. And I was like, that's a really bad job.
So did I, and I was like, he doesn't look or sound like that. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's
So like, like literally, who is he supposed to be?
I think he's just another like newspaper guy.
Literally,
He's
the
just
way,
some dog
the
shit
way-
idiot.
The way that trailer was like shot and like cut makes it sound like it's like the president talking to like Meryl Streep's character.
The thing about the way that trailer
Yeah.
is shot is that it looks like they just shot the entire trailer and then filmed the movie afterwards.
yeah. I call it a failure.
Oh, you mean
Nice.
like they did with Rogue One?
Yeah, like they did with Rogue One. And like they did with Suicide Squad, Oscar-winning film Suicide Squad.
In all fairness, that was for makeup.
Yeah. And Boss Baby is Pokemon going to win the best animated film over Coco.
Okay. Do
Sure
you know
is.
how many people are mad that Wonder Woman got snubbed at the Oscars? Like, I saw Wonder Woman and I liked it, but it is not an Oscar-winning movie. Like, let's not fool ourselves.
No, it's really not.
Like,
The
and
thing
then-
is that the pickings are so slim for female-directed films that, like, literally the only one that actually got in this year was Greta Gerwig with Lady Bird.
Which
and they're just like,
deserves
well,
it.
like, yeah, exactly, it does. But it's just like, it just seems kind of like performative wokeness over the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing.
The thing
Yeah.
is, like, liberal women love Wonder Woman. Like, as if it's, like, the movie itself is in any way, like, feminist. And
Yeah,
it super isn't.
I mean, it's me, a man talking. So like, your mileage may vary with how much it fucking matters, which is to say that it doesn't.
yeah, same disclaimer. Anyway.
Yeah, disclaimer.
Yeah.
This doesn't.
Same hat.
Never mind. But like the fucking, it's another example of a politics based entirely on consumption, and sort of if you give your money to good millionaires, then you have done your activism for the day. And so that turns sort of Wonder Woman into like, and like there's a politics of representation that like I will never viscerally understand, and I don't want to like discount that. I think it's I'm sure I honor that, like, it's probably very, very cool for a lot of people to see. And, like, I thought it was fucking cool to see, like, Wonder Woman on the big screen and, like, people caring about it.
It was good.
But it's the shift from, entertainment is becoming more inclusive to this is my, like, activism. This is the way that I will make a better world, and this is how it will stop.
Right.
Right.
I briefly got reminded of this because you were talking about, like, the movies, politics, etc. So, did any of you hear about how Pitch Perfect 3 was apparently U.S. Department of Defense propaganda?
Looks bad.
I did,
It's
yeah.
not even apparently. This was a declassified document that was released last year that essentially said, like, literally hundreds of movies since the 70s have been, anytime you need anything to do with the military or you need extra funding, you literally have to go through the Pentagon and the Department of Defense to get the assets for the movie, and they are able to do complete script rewrites if necessary.
Wait. So this is if you need funding from the U.S. government, or is this just like any movie?
No, like if you specifically needed like military equipment, or if you were just looking for an extra avenue of funding and just decided to choose the military. Mm-hmm. And so like people were saying, like, there is no reason why this has to be a USO show tour.
Right.
Like, literally, it could have been anywhere. It could have been
like,
average American city, and there's nothing in the script that needs it to be that.
Right.
But instead, like, they have all the people fawn over servicemen who are all universally good the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Movies are bad, folks.
And like the one lesbian character is like, I'm thinking about joining now that they let the gays in.
Yeah, that was like a real thing said, like, in the trailer, no?
I didn't watch the trailer.
I did, and it was bad. And, see, if you want, like, an accurate and reasonable depiction of what military people are like, look at the villain characters in the movie The Shape of Water, which I think should win Best Picture. In that they are egotistical, don't listen to everyone, and want to destroy things just for the sake of doing it.
Like, no jokes, I saw that movie the other day, and it, like, was even more incredible than I thought it was going to be. It was...
I saw it a second time recently, and it was even more incredible than it was the first time I saw it. And she fucks the fish. That's the thing.
And
she does.
Let the record show.
Dick.
Canonically, the fish eats pussy. Thank you for listening.
Well, he's a feminist, so...
When was the last time the fish fucked the girl in the movie?
Guillermo del Toro tweeted that.
Yeah,
Move over, Patty Jenkins.
Guillermo del Green and his feminist pussy-eating fish movie is the best picture that came out in the last year. I think that's
Alaskan
it.
salmon.
I think we're good for the week, folks.
I
right.
call it pitch imperfect. Thanks. Now we're done.
Nice. Now we're done.
Nice,
we got
nice.
this. Got it in one. So I'm Matt. You can find me on Twitter at MatchECN or on Tumblr at Tremampoline.
I'm Brooks. You can find me on Twitter at Brooks as a noun. See you later.
Hi, I'm Patrick. You can find me on Twitter at PG1497 or on Tumblr at Taking Turns at Random.
I'm Zach. You can find me on Twitter at Cataquax and also on Tumblr where I'm mostly inactive at Nightzone with a K.
All right, and Henry Kissinger's Pokemon going to die, not a threat, just a fact. And who wants to say the thing?
I'll say the thing.
Before we say the thing, the show has a Tumblr account and a Twitter account. Both are HKIPTGD on their respective platforms.
When are we getting a Patreon?
Eventually.
Okay, all right.
We'll get there.
Sometime.
Anyway, someone say the thing.
Memento Pokemori.
Memento Pokemori.
Nice. All right, see y'all next week.
You can put a fucked
Bye.
up guy
Bye.
anywhere.
Love
Bye.
you.
Crazy money, getting money. Killa shall be getting money. I'm talking about that crazy money.
Crazy money.
I'm in love with crazy money. Still getting crazy money. Crazy money, get money.
Crazy money.
I'm getting that all day long. My money is so damn long. My bank account so big and strong. I keep the hood on every damn song, yeah. Everywhere I go, I get that dough. That money keep falling. If you already know that Killa be ballin'.